All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a pretty incredible story, a high-stakes prison escape. We're going to look at how a team, completely broken and beaten down, manages to turn the tables on their captors. And let me tell you, it's an absolute masterclass in strategy, stealth, and just coordinated fury. So let's get right into it. The story doesn't kick off with some huge explosion or a big fight. No, it starts with something way more terrifying: the quiet dread of captivity. Imagine this. You're Talonor the Ranger, and you wake up. The first thing you're aware of is just cold stone and this heavy, unnerving silence. You're captured, and you have no idea what's coming next. It's a really chilling way to set the scene. And that brings us to the big question, right? This is really the heart of the whole thing we're going to explore. You've got this team. They're outnumbered, they have no weapons, and they're just waking up after getting knocked out cold. So how in the world do they go from being completely powerless prisoners to, well, to an unstoppable force again? It all comes down to the choices they're about to make. All right, Section 1, a cage of stone. Before we can get to the escape, we've got to understand the prison they're in. And, even more important than the cage itself is the nature of the enemy who's holding the keys. Because the environment, it tells you everything you need to know about what their captors are planning. So you can see their captor's whole game plan right from the get-go. We're not talking about some high-tech prison with iron bars and reinforced walls. Nope, it's basically a cave system that's been crudely turned into cells. And, check this out, the bindings are loose. That's a huge clue. It tells us this isn't a permanent setup. It's a holding pen. And that means one thing for our heroes: the clock is ticking. Now, this is where things get really interesting. Look at the difference here. The cells for the group, they're just raw, neglected caves. But the interrogation room, oh, that's made of fine, worked stone. It's clean, it's deliberate, and that contrast tells you so much. It reveals two very different kinds of cruelty at play. There's the dismissive, you don't matter neglect for the crowd, and then there's this focused, almost surgical attention for the one person they really want to break. And this brings us face to face with the man in charge, the antagonist, Leo Vox. Now get this, he's having Roberto, the samurai, beaten, but not for information. He's not trying to get troop movements or battle plans, no. He's doing it for curiosity and entertainment. It's this really chilling, almost academic desire to understand something about his prisoners that he just can't wrap his head around. And listen to the kind of questions he's asking himself while Roberto is being tortured. Why choose love over power? Why kneel when one could rule? I mean, wow. These questions tell you everything about his core philosophy. This isn't just about good guys versus bad guys anymore. This sets up the real stakes of the conflict. It's a battle between two completely different, totally incompatible ways of seeing the world. Okay, part 2, the Weasel's gambit. The stage is set, right? The party starts to wake up and they figure out pretty fast that just trying to punch their way out is a non-starter. It's just not going to work. Their only path to freedom, their only chance, is through cunning and stealth. It's time to get clever. So subtlety becomes their weapon of choice. They realize they can't just fight. They need a single, silent blade to cut their bonds. And that blade, it's a person. It's Cedric Featherstep. They need a key, all right, but not a metal one. They need a living key. And the druid, with his incredible ability to shapeshift, becomes the one person carrying the hope of everyone else on his shoulders. And his mission? It plays out just like a classic heist movie, broken down into 4 absolutely critical phases. First, shift. He's got to transform into a weasel to slip out of his bonds. Second, scout. He needs to navigate the tunnels and get the lay of the land, map out enemy positions. Third, secure. He has to retrieve a key asset, Calypso's necklace. And finally, fourth, acquire. He's got to steal the actual keys from the guards. Every single step is essential. One mistake, and it's game over for everybody. So as a tiny weasel, Cedric starts his journey. And it's not just about sneaking through tunnels. He stumbles upon the interrogation room, and it's bloodstained. He sees the evidence of what they did to his friend Roberto. And then he sees all their belongings just stacked up like trophies by their captors. You can feel the arrogance. So this mission suddenly becomes about way more than just scouting. It's a brutal reminder of exactly what's at stake. And then he does something that seems small, almost kind of funny, but it's so important.
He carefully secures Calypso's powerful emerald shell necklace. He just drapes it across his little weasel body like, a thief from some old story. And this is vital, because it's not just about getting out anymore. This is about them starting to reclaim their power, piece by tiny piece, even while he's just this little animal. This is where you see pure cleverness win out over brute force. He gets to the guards, right? But he doesn't try to fight them. He's a weasel. Instead, he uses a simple spell to just poof, extinguish their torches. The room goes pitch black, and in that total darkness, he leaps across the room and snatches the keys right off a guard's belt. It's just a brilliant, low-risk, high-reward play. Absolutely perfect. Okay, part 3, prey becomes predator. The second those keys are in hand and the cell doors swing open, everything changes. The entire dynamic shifts, and it happens instantly, violently. The party gets their gear, they're back together, and believe me, they are ready for some payback.
And the violence that follows is just ruthlessly efficient. It's an explosion. Okazaki and Roberto just drop 2 nulls instantly, a total whirlwind of steel. Then you've got Thane, the bard, who drives a third one mad with just whispers, before smashing another one into the ceiling. And Calypso, with her necklace back and her power restored, ends the last 2 with chilling precision. This is what teamwork looks like. You see, it took one person's stealth to get things started, but it takes the whole team's brutal, coordinated power to finish the job. All right, Section 4, Unbroken, Not Unscathed. We're in the endgame now. This is the final chaotic push for freedom. Alarms are blaring, chaos everywhere, but the path out is finally open. And now every single member has to play their part perfectly to get everyone, not just themselves, but all the captured villagers, out to safety. And this next moment just perfectly shows you how relentlessly focused they are. They're in the final hallway, literally on the doorstep of freedom, and there is zero hesitation. A lone Knoll guard pops out, a last-second obstacle, but before it can even raise its weapon, before it can even process what's happening, Okazaki's blades are already flashing, and the threat is gone. Just like that. And as they're all running, you can see their perfect teamwork under pressure just snap into place. It boils down to 3 key roles, and they don't even have to talk about it. They just do it. It's pure instinct. You've got Cedric, still a weasel, chittering away like a little coach, directing all the panicked villagers. Then there's Okazaki, who takes the vanguard position, clearing the path ahead. And pulling up the rear is Thane, the rear guard, making sure all the slower, weaker villagers are safe and nobody gets left behind. So when you look at the whole picture, what does this escape really mean? It's a testament to their collective resilience. Think about it. Any one of them on their own would have failed. Period. And that right there is a direct answer to their captor's twisted philosophy. Where Leo Vox sees power in one person ruling over everyone else, they found their strength in each other. That's how they overcame being captured, being beaten, and facing totally overwhelming odds, together. And that leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought, doesn't it? They've won their freedom, but the hunt has really just begun. I mean, escaping the prison, that's one thing. But now they're deep in enemy territory, and they're being hunted by an incredibly powerful enemy who, after all this, is probably more curious and obsessed with him than ever before. So yeah, escaping the cage was just step 1. Escaping the consequences? Well, that's a whole other story.